We're getting into the holiday spirit with some silly little battle kitties as different Christmas decorations. I originally was gonna do different ornaments, but I had some really fun ideas for different decorations in general, so I kind of just switched the idea. You can still kind of see the ornaments inspiration sticking around. Unlike how Moon Kitty does hers with canon characters, there's no basic starting place because there's no character I have that's equivalent to Firestar as basic. So I'm just gonna go in order of relevance until I finish as many characters as I have planned for this. It should be about 30, so hopefully this shouldn't take too long. The protagonist, our starting point, Bear, is a glass ball ornament of some sort, probably with a floral pattern. He's just a fragile little guy that is usually the first one to be put in a dangerous situation. I noticed that ornaments that often break are usually those fancy glass balls that are always the first ones that get knocked down, or maybe that's just a me issue. Because I've had a few of that happen throughout the years. And Bear just kind of strikes me as the guy that would always be the first one to be injured or destroyed, especially by accident, and especially because he is willing to put himself into these situations. Bear's mentor, Woodruff Pell, is an old strand of Garland. She's older, battered, but incredibly reliable. While she's not for everyone, she's always effective wherever she goes. Garlands aren't used in everyone's houses, but when they are, they look great. It fits a very certain aesthetic. That aesthetic's not for everyone, but it is Woodruff Pelts, and it just works well for her. Frostfang, the leader, is an ugly sweater, probably with some jingly bells on it or some extra bows. I'm talking about a real extra ugly sweater, not just something someone bought at a store, but more like this was handmade. He's very prim and proper on the outside, but he suffers a lot internally. He's very self-loathing, and I think that this sweater would be just flashy and showy enough to divert his emotions into a real physical object. Ravenbelly is a skeleton with something Christmassy on it. He's Bear's father and doesn't exactly have a sympathetic bone in his body, particularly towards his children. Truly is very awkward, especially with Bear, and doesn't exactly fit in to the father type role, which is surprising because he has children and he has sought out two different mates. So he's just a skeleton with a Christmas hat. That's who he is as a human being. Well, as a little kitty, but that's very Ravenbelly. He's very he's trying his hardest to fit in, but it's not working entirely. Bear's older half brother is Frogshade, and Frogshade is one of those Santa decoration figure things that hangs down from your roof as it's trying to climb up. He's a bit goofy like that. I've always found those decorations to be pretty funny. But it would probably be more because he's pushing Santa off the roof himself and Santa is trying to hang on than it's actually being helpful or Santa climbing on. Frogshade is just counterproductive in everything he does. Bear's other half brother and Frogshade's brother and littermate is Cloudy Sky, and Cloudy Sky is a sprig of mistletoe. He is funny the first few times he says something, but gets really annoying and inconvenient over time. Mistletoe, especially used on those unconsenting individuals, can be really annoying, and that just kind of encompasses the guy that Cloudy Sky is. He's just no boundaries, no personal space. He's not listening to you at all. He is thinking, and he's not paying attention to anything you're saying, especially the words no, and that makes him pretty dangerous. Saptir is one of those Mickey Mouse themed ornaments. She's a cat, but she would be a Disney mom. It just makes sense in my mind. There's no, nothing else to it. That's just who she is, okay? Saptir is Disney tree ornament. It's just point blank period. End of story. That's Saptir. Model Blaze, the other queen, is a very specific lawn ornament train that my grandma had. They don't make the type of that specific model anymore, but I found something really close. I wish I had a picture of it. I don't know, it was very specific in my mind, and I've always associated that decoration with Christmas and nostalgia, and just that reminds me of Model Blaze. She would probably also only have a decoration like that, one decoration, and it would be something like a train, but I think it would be more like a interior train, train set that would, she would have function. She just strikes me as someone who would just have one single Christmas decoration, and that single Christmas decoration would be this very specific decoration that I had throughout my life, because I like Model Blaze, and it works, okay? It works for her. I don't try to understand it. Sand Speckle is a box wrapped up to look like a present, but it's really a fake present misdirection thing. He's quiet and observant and would definitely pull something like this over on the younger and sneakier children. His hiding spots for all of the real presents would be elite, and this wouldn't be something he would do out of malice or a prank. When trying to look up a reference photo for this, I saw a bunch of stories where parents would get fake presents and then throw it into a fire when their children were being naughty, which shame and fear response is not how you teach children. In fact, you're just making it worse. So I don't think he would do this in a negative way. I don't think he would be one of those parents that would punish anyone for this, but I think he would do it out of genuine love and surprise. He would want to, I think it would be very wholesome for him. He would go to super elaborate lengths to keep the gifts a secret, because he wouldn't want anyone, even the sneakiest kids who would peek, because I know I peeked at least once or twice when I was really little, and he would want to keep the surprise of the presents super genuine so that everyone can enjoy a super sweet moment. Gorskays is a live Christmas tree. She's absolutely not for everyone, and people have to seek her out most of the time, but she brings in the good vibes wherever she goes. Live Christmas trees are pretty cool towards the beginning of having them, but do get really annoying to deal with towards the end, which I think can fit Gorskay's, cannot pronounce her name, whenever she's socializing. I've also just had one or two live Christmas trees and remember it being really fun, but after a while it was more trouble than it's worth. Not to say that Gorskays is bad in any way, but just that sometimes she's a lot to handle. Sharp Flower is a stocking full of all of your favorite goodies. She's a perfect mom. She's not doing this for her kids or her mate, but just because she wants everyone to really have the best Christmas. She's genuinely genuinely doing this because she cares about other people and not because it's a social role or anything that she has to fit. She just loves everyone, and nothing is better than finding out that you got all of your favorite goodies on this holiday, and she's, just the right person that would know all of them. Even the things that you're like, you mentioned once, you're like, wow, I really want this, and then you just forgot about it. She remembers, and then she surprises you with it, exactly what you wanted. Hawk Branch is some kind of fancy Christmas themed bird ornament. He's a bird guy. That is who he is. I think he would be one of those big fluffy white-tailed birds because he's fluffy and a white-tailed bird kind of guy already. And I mean, yeah, that's Hawk Branch. Super simple. He's a bird. That's, bird guy. Badger Jaw is an advent calendar. He would probably be something very, very practical, and even if he doesn't decorate for Christmas, he would most likely have an advent calendar. It's probably not the most exciting Christmas thing, but he would have a lot of fun depending on what you get, because I know sometimes it's like toys, or like sometimes it's like chocolate, depending on what kind you get. He would always share that with his children and try to have a good time with his family, even if he's not super into Christmas. Canary Wisp is string lights that are being used all year round. She cares very little about the holidays and usually just brushes off her usual home decor as being Christmassy whenever someone asks about it. String lights just really seem practical, and Canary Wisp is always practical and trying to take shortcuts to do everything the best that it possibly can be, so, it just makes sense. Canary Wisp's mate and Frostfang's father is Woolly Tuft, and he is a box of years and years worth of half-finished wrapping paper. He's very useful and enjoyable in short bursts or to certain people, but doesn't find much usefulness outside of that one category or skill. This happens to be with, for him specifically, teaching, and when he's not teaching, he's just not that practical and seems to be taking up a lot of space. Which is the vibe of wrapping paper. You need it on birthdays and Christmas, and I don't see it being used that much outside of those times. Tatterdrain is not a decoration, but is one of those neighbors that usually and very magically sets up a very incredibly elaborate amount of decorations without ever being seen doing it. You just blink and their entire house is swallowed by the Christmas spirit. And that's Tatterdrain. 1 second he's there, next second he's gone. He's just super quick about it. And, he's kind of a ghost. He would also strike me as one of those builders or, hired decorator kind of guys that it feels like him too. Soaring Cloud is a Christmas tree that has been very specifically decorated by your mom, and if you touch it or get near it, you are going to be yelled at. She and Badgerjaw are mates, and they have extremely different approaches to not just Christmas, but parenting. Her time as an older member of her community makes her think that everything she does is invaluable, and she gets incredibly angry at anyone upsetting this image, especially her daughter Model Blaze. And I think this fits perfectly just with the Christmas tree. I think she wouldn't let her children touch it because that would ruin it, and she would decorate the tree and her house very specifically so it fit her perfect image, and Christmas would be all about her, which is a little unfortunate. to her children. Loach scale is a fishing-themed Christmas tree that I saw when I was looking up anything having to do with Christmas and fishing. He picked up fishing from his dad, and while his dad half-mourning did it as a hobby, he is extremely passionate about this. He will never live down his ability to fish, and even though he's not as good as it as his dad, who did it kind of for fun and not as passionately, he's sunk way too many hours into this to stop now, and is in complete denial about it, and now fishing is his only hobby, and it's the only thing he does to relate to his children, and if his children don't fish like he did with his father, he's going to be extremely upset. And dude, calm down, they're literally infants. Chill. He's also not a good dad either, so, you know, win some, you lose some, and in this case, he gets the boat. Tree couldn't be bothered to decorate, so he just put on something vaguely Christmas related to call it a day. He cares very little, and it's not that he forgot, he just doesn't care. And it's very funny because I was looking up outfits, Christmas-themed outfits for men, and this outfit, which is just vaguely Christmassy, it's literally like a red shirt, popped up, and it made me very amused because that's not Christmas. You're not even wearing anything Christmas related. You just put on the color red. Sir, that's not Christmas. That's just red. Grass is a bunch of Christmas cookies. She definitely made them herself, and while they're not the best cookies in the world, you probably shouldn't tell her or she'll have a meltdown and spend another 2 more hours baking. Grass is always on the verge of this nervous breakdown, and it's not just cookies. You tell her anything is done poorly, and she will spend the next few hours doing it again. Mud is a group of Hallmark movies. Sure, it's predictable, and you could probably spend your time doing something better, but this is entertaining enough for the meantime, and she does that. She hops from drama to drama and just watches everyone. She would be kind of a movie buff, I would think. She would also be kind of lazy, which is fine. Prickle is some handmade decorations and ornaments that are very lazily made. He was sort of forced to make them with his mom, Soaring Cloud, and she is very proud of them, even if they are poorly made. Deep down, he likes them just a little bit, but any mention of them, and he would crumble them up and toss them in the trash. He does not want to be made aware that he did something vaguely kind, or nice, or productive, or fun. That's not how Prickle rolls. Tangle is a deer decoration, particularly one of those like mesh cover ones with lights. I've always found those things really hard to like pick up and hold. I think it's just like a really awkward shape, and I've only ever really held them when I've been younger and couldn't get a good grasp on them because I was pretty small. And you know, that just feels like Tangle. The name Tangle does also bring to mind a kind of messy thing idea. So I don't have much for Tangle. I don't like out of all the characters, I think Tangle I have the least for. Like everyone has a pretty specific idea for them, and Tangle is just the least. Sorry, Tangle. Sun is this very cute little elk ornament I found online. It's perfect for her. She's small and soft and pleasant, and this ornament is the cutest thing I have ever seen. They're the same. Trout is one of those very classic shiny bells. He's noisy and playful and just like a little kid when you get them bells, and I can imagine him wringing them out for hours to get some annoyance and teasing from his siblings and his parents, and they'd probably get taken away and he'd probably get put in timeout, but he had a great time doing it, and he can entertain himself for hours. Pochard is a candy cane that is an odd flavor, a flavor that should have never ever come to light. He reminds others of his father, low scale, but is different in other ways. I've had many candy canes of different flavors, and while they're all similar to candy canes, not all of them are enjoyable, and Pochard falls into, like, the uncomfortable side. I tried to find some that were, like, odd. So, like, pickle, and like, wasabi, and, you know, things that, food that I've encountered that I've never thought, that would make a good candy cane. Quiet is a wax candle with no scent. He's just a candle. Very simple. Fits him perfectly, relaxing and helpful, but also a possibility for concern or damage if left unattended. Not to say that he's, like, going to do any damage himself, but he does, I would say, find himself in some predicaments. On to our non-cats, we have Woe, who is a Santa or Christmas hat, depending on what term you want to use. She is classic and gets straight to the point. When you see a Santa hat, your mind immediately goes to Christmas, and Woe is very, well, she looks very, woeful. I don't have much more to say about Woe. I truly think that the picture I drew does not do her justice, and I would love to expand on her in a later video, because Woe was one of the greatest parts of this story, and just a fun character to work with. Lastly, we have Laughing and Weeping. They are a pair of snowmen, inflatable lawn ornament decorations. They must be put together, even though they are from different boxes and sets. They're both snowmen, so it doesn't really matter, and no one will know or even care. They just are snowmen, and they must sit next to each other. These two are completely unrelated to different types of venomous snakes, but they have been paired together for symbolic reasons, I guess. I don't know how to draw snakes that well, so please excuse if this looks very funny. I tried my best. And, that's about all. This has been really fun, and a lot of these designs are my first run at what I think these characters would look like, so they're probably not going to be, like, permanent designs. This was just a video I wanted to put out for Christmas, just a little fun holiday video about Christmas decorations and battle cats and OCs and, nothing serious or, daunting, I guess. If you like this, I talk all the time on my channel. In fact, now there's hardly a video where I don't talk, and I would love to talk about these little guys a lot more. I have another video with them coming out in maybe the first week or two of the new year. I don't think I have any videos planned for the last few days before New Year's, so yeah. If you guys have more ideas of what I could do these characters as, like colors or other animals or sets of dice or food and many things, I would love to hear some suggestions. I've been kind of racking my brain on what I think would be a fun or chaotic thing to do, but every time I think about it, I don't think I've experienced enough things. Like, if it's books, I don't think I have read enough books, or if it's foods, or I don't think I've had enough foods, and I don't know. Suggestions I would love to hear. Anyways, thank you, and enjoy your Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. Enjoy Hanukkah if you celebrate Hanukkah. I know that it's not a one-day tradition, but it's still fun. And I don't know when Kwanzaa is, but enjoy Kwanzaa or things around it. And this might be the last time I'm talking in 2022, so if this is, thanks for the fun year, and I will see you guys next time.